Welcome to another Good e-Reader comparison video. This is Marcus.
And this is Peter.
And today we're going to review the Nook tablet versus the original Barnes & Noble Nook Color. We're going to show you hardware, software, and how the devices differ from each other. Before we get into anything, let's give you some of the specs. So the Nook tablet is 7 inches, 1024 by 600, 170 ppi, and it's the exact same as the Nook Color. The differences are with the operating system. The Nook tablet has an Android 2.3 OS, while the original Nook Color is only Android 2.2. The CPU actually on the Nook Color has 800 megahertz, whereas the Nook tablet is running a 1 gigahertz dual core processor. So quite the step up. The step up is also adhered to the RAM. You have 1 gig of internal memory with the Nook tablet, and you also have 512 MB on the original Nook Color. Storage capacity has been drastically increased as well. With the Nook tablet, you have 16 gigs of internal storage, upgradable to 32, while the original Nook Color only has 8 gigs of internal storage, and it could also be upgraded to 32 gigs. Both have Wi-Fi. They both read the same types of ebook formats. And let's take a look at some of the hardware. Let's take a look at a 360 degree and see how the units differ or are the same.
All right, let's look at the devices just as they are right now. You might see some of the devices flickering. That has nothing to do with the quality of the device. This is actually the Nook tablet, and you can see it's flickering. That's just because when you shoot things with a camera, sometimes they flicker, sometimes they don't. You'll notice that if you shoot TVs, cell phones, etc. Don't worry about that. Everything is fine. So, looking at them, you see the matte metal-esque look they have has changed a little bit. The older generation had kind of a matte dark silver, and this one is almost going a little bit more bronzy. So that's just an immediate difference you see, and it's a good way to define the two devices. Screens are exactly the same as Marcus said, except on the Nook Color, the screen had been cut off here, whereas the gloss finish on the Nook tablet goes right all the way through. Not a big deal. So these being the same housing, essentially, they have pretty much the same button placement, everything else. So you can see on the side here you have the power buttons. These are used to turn the device on and off and lock the screen. Moving to the top, you both have the exact same 3.5mm headphone jack. Looks like you almost have a microphone on this guy here too, whereas on the Nook Color you don't. Moving over to the right, you have volume up, volume down on both, pretty standard. And of course, both SD cards are located in the exact same place on the bottom of the device. All you got to do is lift up that tab. Same with the Nook Color, and away you go, upgradable up to 32 gigs. They both have kind of a soft rubber backing. The Nook Color, older generation, is a very dark black almost, and the Nook Color tablet is a lot lighter. They both have the same both have the same speaker. They're both at the back. Pretty much everything's the same in terms of the hardware, the exterior at least, and I believe the Nook Color tablet on the right here is a touch thinner, not really visible to the naked eye. You really have to get your measuring tape out, but it is indeed thinner and a tad lighter.
Yeah, I never really noticed a huge difference when I was holding them off camera to see what was lighter and what was heavier. The Nook tablet is a little bit less, it's lighter than the Nook Color, but it's fine. It's not really like a deal breaker. You don't really notice it. And, we review e-readers for a living. If I were to notice it, I would let you know. So one of the settings or one of the features that have really differed is when you hit the end here. That doesn't really do anything, whereas if you hit the end here, it actually brings up your home, library, shop. In order to call that up, you actually have to hit the little button here. I found that this was actually better because it's a little bit more intuitive to hit this and bring up the settings and stuff like that. Let's just take a quick little tour around the devices and see how things are the same and how things are different.
Right off the bat, before I give the mic to Marcus here, you will notice that this acts as a home button, just to add on what he said. Acts as a home button on the Nook Color. So if you're in an application and you press the N, it brings you home. Whereas on this one, it brings up a menu that includes the home key that the Nook Color does not.
Yeah, you can see, for sure there's the big difference with the buttons here is the inclusion of the home button. That's really the only thing that's different. Let's take a look at the library and just see how things are the same or different. So pretty standard shelves, right? You can see that this is a little bit quicker, scrolling
Yes.
up or down. What about magazines? All right, we didn't have any magazines loaded in there. You have your newspapers, your apps. Oh, do you even have?
No.
You don't even have an apps setting there.
That's where we differ here. All the apps that you would download, for example, Angry Birds, would just appear on your bottom scrolling bar here, because you have books mixed in with PDF user manuals mixed in with applications, or they would be on your main homepage here. So you'd have to find it another way by going to, so it wouldn't be located in the library in an organized list. You'd actually have to go into the home and scroll over to apps manually.
So that's one of the advantages that the new Nook tablet has. I think it's a more effectively laid out. You can see this is the default way that the Nook Color is organized, and then this is organized like a little bit differently. And you can see here that these are the original apps that came with the original Nook Color, and these are the apps that came with the new Nook tablet minus the Angry Birds app, which we loaded in ourselves. So you can see that they've loaded in Hulu Plus, Netflix. Of course, both have Pandora, and a lot of other the apps are the same. So Nook tablet has included 2 streaming video services. You can also, on your main library, hit the kids, and you could check out the Nook Kids options you have there.
There's not really a designated kids section on the first generation Nook Color, so you would be lacking that. If anything, you'd have to just go to your main book supply and try to find the kids book, for example, The Elephant's Child, manually.
Yeah. So I think that the Nook tablet, wins in laying out content a little bit more effectively. Let's check out how the shopping experience has changed. So I hit the shop button on the Nook tablet.
You'll notice that everything I'm executing is actually a little bit behind, actually significantly behind the Nook tablet. Everything when I went to the library, when I went to apps, shop, everything just takes a little bit longer to load.
Yeah. So right off the bat, you can see how the shop differs from device to device. Whereas Peter's scrolling, I'm kind of like going to this little area here and looking up and down. Browse the Nook store by books, magazines, newspapers, kids, apps, music, and video.
You have more of an actual list here in order to find your genre, category, what have you.
So what do you think is for the shopping experience, navigating around, how do you feel that the two stack up against each other?
I must say that I like the appearance of the Nook Colors store layout. It looks very cool, and everything's nice and scrolling, and you have the different levels of like advertisements and things like that. But it all comes down to it not being laid out in categories very well. You do have to do some digging. You got to go on the very bottom and choose browse. Then you got to go to books. Then you can finally get your layout. So I do think that right away you can access a lot more on the Nook tablet.
Okay, so let's check out the app experience on how you would really shop for new apps. So you can see that this loaded up pretty fast. Right away, of course, the 2 stores for apps are laid out a little bit differently. You do get the scrolling factor here, but then you kind of also have this little list factor that's been maintained throughout the different shop experiences. So it's more or less like the same thing, except the App Store is laid out, I think, a little bit better on a Nook tablet, personal opinion. There's, of course, a lot of paid apps and a lot of free apps, so you don't have to spend money, but some of the better apps do cost, $1.99 on average.
Yeah, exactly. Once again, to to really get anything, you have to go to this general browser here to, click under apps and then choose your category. They aren't really laid out very well on the main page, as you can see. And there are a couple ways to change your view, so you can change it from a list to a grid to just a general, a different sort of undivided list. But once again, I think it's just laid out a lot better, and you can just immediately get something on the tablet.
I totally agree. So let's check out the app, the World Wide Web, and check out how that is different here.
Oops. Sorry, we had an embedded YouTube clip going.
Okay, so I'm gonna just hit the home button, and we're gonna just check out how the internet experience changes from device to device.
Let me catch up to you there.
Okay, so we're both on the same Wi-Fi connection. There really isn't anything that is different from device to device. Once Peter's Nook Color catches up, let's just check out first how easy it is to scroll up and down a web page.
Wow. Night and day difference right there. You can see there's a lot of lagging, a lot of choppiness. It's not very smooth at all, whereas on this, once the initial touch is past you, it just goes. And there's no lagging, there's no hesitation.
What about pinching and zooming?
Much slower. Takes a much longer to render.
And if I double tap this, it sort of takes all the text and makes it easier to read on a portable device. So it kind of like reflows it all. So instead of having to scroll like this, I can just double tap and all the text is a lot easier to read. I would say
Internet experience, I would have to give it to the tablet.
yeah, I totally agree. So you guys just seen this for yourself. I mean, it's a pretty big and noticeable difference. So in the end, what are your impressions of the Nook Color versus the new Nook tablet?
There isn't really any much of a contest. The Nook tablet, I mean, just to put it in short, is better. It is double the processing power, double the RAM, double the internal storage. It's more refined. They've had this guy for years to refine everything onto it, and use it as kind of like a tester. But yeah, it's better in almost every way than the Nook Color. I mean, the only thing that would be the benefit of getting the Nook Color if you're on a budget, and that's totally fair because it is actually only $199 now at Barnes and Noble. So, price efficiency, Nook Color is definitely the way to go. Everything else, the Nook Color tablet.
Yeah, I mean, the Nook Color tablet, it's hardware wise, it's just so superior. And in a world where the Kobo Vox has a single core 800 megahertz processor, 512 of MB of RAM. The Nook tablet just really it blows a lot of the other competing tablets out of the water in terms of just the hardware alone. And I think the stores are effectively laid out. You can see here that we do actually have a number of free subscriptions with the Nook newsstand. With movies, they have. You get Showtime here. It comes to Netflix and Hulu Plus. I think the Nook tablet is the perfect example of a company that has made a tablet and has made an e-reader. And the interface is very good. I mean, and you've seen pretty well everything that we've done. That the Nook tablet is just superior in every way. So I would definitely recommend if you have a Nook Color in your possession and you're feeling like you want a Christmas gift, get the Nook tablet. If you have never had, if you're used to e-ink devices and you want more of a device that's low cost and will do everything that you really needed to do, from Twitter to Facebook to your daily internet experience, checking emails, reading all this types of content, it's good. I really think that kids really win with both of these devices. I think the Nook tablet edges it out with the read and record type features. So you've seen the comparisons. We'll leave it to you to make the ultimate decision on which device would be the best for your situation. But I think both of us are leaning towards the Nook tablet in terms of overall superiority. So check out all our other videos on the Nook Color and the Nook tablet on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/goodyreader, or you can check out our website at goodyreader.com. And for Goody Reader, my name is Marcus.
And this is Peter.
Everybody take care.